Hey Drawing Bee, we're getting ready for our second unit, and our second unit has to do with drawing drapery, which is also fabrics and folds. We're going to do a small glass bowl and even learning how to work with reflections, usually on glass or metal. So actually all of this is going to be summative all the way through, and there's nothing on the back side. So the first one is a folds drawing. And with folds in your PowerPoint, folds are like this. It's actually how you're going to start learning how to make almost like fashion. It is just like lights and darks. When we get to the next bigger project, the other summative is we're going to be working again with different types of reflections. So this one's got two main projects in it. But to start, we're going to work with folds. With folds, you're actually going to be taking your iPad and taking pictures of different folds. Now this is a probably my knee with some leggings on, or you can take a variety of pictures. Here I like this one. I can turn it to black and white, but it's got a nice lot of elbow folds. Alright, so what you want to do is learn how to do these folds of lights and downs. Now this was really scrunched up, but I'm going to work with this one too. Alright, and this one's already black and white. So from that, you are going to grab a piece of paper, start your contour drawing. Keep this pretty close. I'm going to have to orient it the right way. I actually had it going this direction, and start your contour drawing. And it should, fill the page. Fill the page really well. You can see it. And then you get ready for your shading. So I'm going to carefully set this here. When you start shading the folds, I usually look for your darks. I'm going to kind of peek this here too. And start shading. You can shade your oval style. You can go from dark to light. This usually takes about a whole entire class hour to take the picture that you like and then start to work with your lights and darks. So if you see where it's like darker in here, of course you're going to press a little bit darker and you're filling your page. So you can kind of see how I went from the contour drawing to making it look a little bit more 3D. In the PowerPoint, and I printed out one of them, you could actually see where you're starting to go from the contour drawing and building up your values so things start to look more 3D. As we get further in class, you're going to start to realize when we actually start to draw people, this will help our person actually in their anatomy look more three-dimensional. So yes, it is starting to add value to line, remember, and then it starts to look more like 3D form. And usually elbows and knees work fine, but you can start to see the same technique whether you're doing all sorts of different areas like this shoulder right here or a gathered scarf for drapery. So you got to work on this one. I actually have one done that was by a student, and you can see the eraser work for highlights, the strong lights and darks. So she did an elbow up to like the torso. This one had two sleeves, but again, you can start working with your blending. You can use a Kleenex to soften. We're working so we don't have heavy outlines. So again, nice edges, not heavy outlines. So right here, it didn't have this heavy line, which I wish wasn't there. If it is, you lighten it up and you start to blend so we don't have the heavy look of an outline. So it's starting light and then adding gradually the shading that you need to not have the heavy outlines but still look 3D. So for grading on your folds, okay, you start with your contour drawing, your folds are drawn lightly, no heavy outlines, smooth application of your values, not scratchy. It'll take a while to make it smooth. Highlights are due with that lifting eraser technique. Smudges erased, details like stitching and stuff like that, and your full range of values of lights to darks. This one, I actually want you to have someone critique it. Again, I want someone to give you 2 compliments and 2 areas of improvement. For me, I think a compliment if someone did this one, it's got strong highlights, it filled the page. An area of improvement is I didn't put a date, I didn't sign it, and there was even a couple smudges. Alright, so get areas of improvement and your compliments. When you start the small bowl, there's actually a tutorial video that shows you how to do the small bowl. And that I already have in Schoology for you. What I like about this is the artist uses the Kleenex. They do their whole background, and it shows you again how to get your highlights back, and also making it symmetrical, and you can see how they measured it and things like that. If you have charcoal, you could do this in charcoal. You'd need a white charcoal pencil and a black charcoal pencil. If you don't, you can just do it with a regular pencil, and you can actually see my example I was doing right here. So I have that line of symmetry. I measured, and I'm using the white of the paper to be that sparkly little reflective look. Again, I'm using from the video, I'm working on not having heavy outlines, and I sure don't have to fill in this whole back space, but I am giving it a spot for it to sit and create that nice strong 3D shadow. So again, this would match from the bold video, and you can also see from the clips that I took from the video. So that's your small bowl right here. Middle tones are applied to the paper in the background, and you can again do this on white paper. It looks like 3D form. It appears smooth and shiny because of your blendings. You have shadows and lifting, and or use a white pencil to get your highlights. So that's kind of your small bowl. Your glass reflections, I believe, are going to take the longest. All right. Glass reflections would be like this. With your iPad, you're finding some beautiful kind of glassware from home and photographing it. Then you're working on your glassware. Okay. This is one that I actually had that I worked on gray paper, but I was lucky enough to have gray paper with white and black charcoal. If you don't, you can still work with your paper and draw your object. Your object should fill out most of your paper, and again, have your iPad handy so you can see all those different lights to dark values. So take quality pictures, see which one you like the best for your glassware. This PowerPoint has awesome student examples that compare the picture to the drawing, and this one does take a while. Again, eraser work to get back your highlights, and this can be done with different pencils. Alright, so it could work on gray paper with white and black, or just white paper and really pull back your highlights. But this one will probably take about an hour and a half. Alright, so that one is your glass reflections. It's all 40 summative points. You have middle tones blended onto your white paper. Your objects are drawn symmetrically.